Hey guys, thanks for joining me for Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Samurai Jack Journey to the Past. This is a game by USAopoly. It is a 2 to 5 player game that takes roughly 45 minutes to 75 minutes to play, and it is a competitive game, so each player is going to be working against the other players to gain the most honor points and be the overall winner at the end of the game. In the game itself, the players are going to be playing Samurai Jack's companions, and they're going to help Samurai Jack defeat his foes and help him on his quest to get back to the past. Now, of course, they want to prove themselves to be the best companions, so they're going to be competing against each other to try to gain the most honor points throughout the game, and the player that does this the best will be the overall winner at the end of the game. So my thoughts on this one, I would recommend this game to anyone that really enjoyed Samurai Jack series and is looking to expand that universe and continue on. And I'd also recommend it to light groups, both families and groups that are just looking for a light strategy game that is competitive. There's not a lot of meat to this one, so if you're really heavy into the heavy strategy games, this is probably not going to do it for you. But if you're looking for a light, fun, competitive game that's not super backstabby, this is a nice one to get to the table. Other than that, the rulebook for this one did a good job of outlining everything. I didn't find a lot of complication within the rulebook, and I felt that they laid it out pretty well, as you guys are going to see in the video. This is not going to be a long video. Other than that, the components of the game themselves are pretty good. The cards are fairly decent. The miniatures are nice, and they do a really good job of representing the different companions in Samurai Jack and Akoo. So I definitely think that they did a good job there. I would have liked to see a little bit better quality on some of the card stock, but overall, really good job with the production on this game. So if you found this video helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button, subscribing to my channel, as it really does help me to continue to grow and be able to bring these games to you guys to teach you how to play. If you want to stay up to date on all my videos, also considering that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new content. So let's head to the table and I'll teach you guys how to play. The first set of cards I'm going to go over is the Jack Akoo movement deck, which is going to be comprised of 15 cards, which is going to be 3 of each copy of the different locations, which is Ruins, Field, Desert, City, and Jungle. And this will help you determine where Jack and Akoo move during the movement phase. The other set of cards we have are the support cards, and each of these cards is going to have a type in the top corner along with the image and a name. The type in the corner is the most important part of the card, and there are 3 different types. We have allies, traits, and weapons. And some of the cards are also going to have multiple images, so when you use the card, you'll simply tell which image you're using. And then each player is also going to have 3 cards, one of each type, matching their character. And if a player uses the same card that matches their character, they'll get additional points, and I'll explain this more later. The board itself will be made up of tile sets, and at the beginning of the game during setup, you'll separate each of these sets into their respective side, and each of these sets is going to have the 5 different locations on it, which are Ruins, Desert, City, Jungle, and Field. And I'll show you how this works in a minute. For player setup, each player is going to choose a character they want to play as, and then they'll receive their character's card, which is going to give them a quick reference guide for their turn, along with the 3 special support cards that their character will have in their names. They'll also get their character's miniature, and the 5 movement cards matching their character, which are each of the 5 different locations again. And the last thing I want to go over are the villains and Akoo cards, and these will work exactly the same way. At the end of the round, the players are going to move on to these cards, and they'll choose the location that's open to them. In 4 or 5 player games, these shaded spaces will be open as well. In lower player games, only these 3 spaces will be open. Each of the spaces the player can choose to go onto will have different symbols matching it, and the player must play the support cards matching that location that they choose to go to defeat that villain and receive those points at the end of the round. For board setup, the first thing you're going to do is place out the display board and then grab the Jack token. And then based on the number of players, you're going to place that token in one of the starting locations. So I'm going to set it for a 3-player game, so we'll place our token on that first space. Then go ahead and grab the Jack Akoo movement deck and shuffle that up. And place that out in the movement slot. Next, go ahead and grab the support deck, shuffle that up as well, and then based on the number of players, as you guys can see in this chart, you're going to place a number of cards in each one of those locations. So with us playing a 3-player game, we're going to go ahead and place 2 cards in each of those locations. Next, go ahead and grab the 3 different tile sets, choose one, shuffle it up, and then place it out on the board. Again, choose another set, shuffle it up. Go ahead and grab the villains deck and shuffle them up, and then randomly select one to be the villain you're going to go against. Go ahead and place out all the different tokens you're going to be using for the game, and for this video I'm going to be using the Crystal Fortress pod sets. You'll find a link in the description below to their website as well. From there, each player can also choose the character they're going to play as. And then the final step is to choose the order of the characters. So first off, you're going to place Jack out in the front of the line, and then randomly choose how the characters are going to be set up after that. And this will be the player order for this first set. So we'll do this, and then finally Akoo will be the last one in that line. From here, we're ready to start the game. Samurai Jack Back to the Past is played over 3 rounds, with each round consisting of a number of different turns. And each turn is going to be broken into 4 phases, which is going to start with Jack advancing, then the players are going to advance, finally Akoo will advance, and then the players are going to resolve character location effects. And then that'll start over again. And I'm going to take you through each one of these steps in detail as you can see how the game works. The first phase in the turn is that Jack is going to advance. So the first thing you're going to do is draw a card from the movement deck and then move Jack to the first available space in that section. So with the field, the first section is going to be this first space. Now if Jack moves to a location that has a character, then he gets to move his sanity token back 1 space on the track. But right now he is not in a space with a character, and his sanity is at the very beginning of the track. The second step in the turn is for the players to advance. So each player is going to take a look at their movement cards that they have available to them, and then they're going to choose one of those movement cards that they want to move to that location on the board. So let's go ahead and do that for the Scotsman. Each player is going to place this card face down in front of them until all players have done this. Now once all players have had a chance to do this and they have a card in front of them, then you're going to start with the last player in the line and move forward with each player revealing their card and moving to that location. So our Sir Rothschild is going to move to the ruins, and so he's going to move to the first available space in the ruins. Now if there are no available spaces in the location that the player has played a card in, they're going to move to the next space in the next location along that track. So then next we'll have the Scotsman go, so he's going to play his card, and he's also going to the ruins. And then finally Monkey Man is going to go to the city. Now there's a couple important things with this I want to point out. First, with this, the players are going to try to select locations that are going to be beneficial to them, as wherever they're at in the location, during the 4th round, they're going to get to choose a support card from that location. So that's important as they try to collect these different cards to be able to fight the villain at the ends of the round. And then the other big thing is trying to be in a location with Jack, as that is going to give that player or players special benefits that you're going to see a little bit later as well. And the final thing is that players can sometimes choose to go to the location that matches their color. If they do this, as the players play these cards, these are going to go to their discard pile, and they won't be able to use these cards again until either they've used all 5 cards or they've visited the location that matches their color. If they do, such as the Scotsman, if he goes to the field, then he gets to take all of his cards back into his hands from his discard pile and use them again, as that is his location. And each character has 1 color for their location. So Monkey Man would be purple, and Sir Rothschild is red for the desert. The third step in the round is for Akoo to move. So we're going to flip over the next movement card, and then we're going to move him to the first spot in that location. So he'll move to the desert in the very first section. The 4th step in the turn is resolving locations, and this is going to start with the player furthest along on the track, and then for that location, each player along that location will resolve that effect. So Monkey Man will be our first one to go, and during this, he's going to go ahead and look at the city location and choose one of those support cards to take to his area. So he's going to go ahead and take this one. Now there is a couple important notes with this. If there are no support cards left in that location, then the Monkey Man could not take a card from that location. So if all 3 players were in this location, only 2 of the players would get to collect a card. And there's a couple other important things. If any player is in the location with Akoo, then they will not be able to take support from that location. And then during their next turn, their movement is going to be determined randomly by taking a movement card. And I'll show you guys this effect. The other important thing is if the players are with Jack. Any player that is with Jack is going to receive 1 honor point, and they get to also take a card from that area, either from the field that they're at, or a random draw from the top of the deck. In this way, if a field completely runs out, or a location runs out, they still have access to a card if they're with Jack. Now the other important thing is if no player is with Jack, he is also going to lose 1 sanity, moving his token along that track. This is also going to happen if Jack is with Akoo. So starting with our next player, Sir Rothschild will be the next one to go, and so he is the first on the ruins, so he gets to choose one of those cards. So he'll go ahead and take this one, as they're both the same pretty much. They both give the player a weapon. And then finally, the Scotsman will go, and so he's going to take the other card in that location. So now let's go ahead and put everything together, and I'll take you through another turn. So again, we're going to start the turn with Jack moving. So we're going to flip over another card, and so he's going to move to the city. And he'll move to that first location within the city, but since the Monkey Man is there, he's going to move to the next location. And since he moved to a location with a character, he gets to move his sanity 1 back on that track. Then we're going to go ahead and move to the next part with the players going and selecting one of their cards. So we're going to do this randomly with each player this way. And like I said, normally players will choose this. Then starting with the player furthest back on that track, so our Scotsman, he is going to reveal and resolve his. So he's also going to move to the city. Then Sir Rothschild is going to go to the desert. And finally, Monkey Man is going to go to the jungle. Then we're going to resolve Akoo. So again, we'll move. And so Akoo is going to move to the desert. So Rothschild got pretty lucky there. And then we'll move into the last step with the players resolving their effects. So Monkey Man is the furthest along on the track, so he'll go first. And since he is in his location, he'll also get his cards back for his movement. And then he's also going to take his card from that location. Then next on the track is the Scotsman. So he is in the city, so he'll receive 1 honor point for being with Jack. And then he'll also take his bagpipes card. Now, alternatively, he could have chosen to take a card from the top of the deck. Finally, we have Rothschild, and so Rothschild is also going to take his card from the desert. The players are going to continue taking turn after turn until the players are ready to move on to the villain. And any player can move on to the villain by playing a movement card that does not have a tile along that path in front of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at another turn real quick, and we're going to go ahead and start off with Jack taking his turn. So he's going to move to the field. Then we'll move into the players. Starting with the players, they're going to go ahead and select those cards. All right, and then the players are going to reveal, starting with the player furthest back. So Sir Rothschild will move to the jungle. And so there are no jungle spaces, so he's going to go ahead and move off. And then he's going to choose one of those locations that he wants to go to that's still open. So right now, all the locations are open. So he's going to go to this location here, and he's going to play these 2 cards there and a weapon. Then he's going to go ahead and discard the cards matching those different symbols. And if he plays any of those cards that match his icon, so if the player has any of their own cards on there, then they're going to receive 2 additional honor points for those. So the location itself is worth 5 points, and since Sir Rothschild is playing one of his cards, he'll receive 2 additional points for a total of 7. Then we'll move on with the next player. So Monkey Man is going to go, and he's going to go to the field. And then we'll go to the Scotsman to resolve his. So he's going to go to the desert. And then we'll resolve Akoo. So he's going to go to the ruins. Now, if Akoo ever moves off, then he's going to take the first space along that track. So it'll make it harder for the characters. But as of right now, he hasn't yet. So then our characters will resolve their effects. So starting with the character furthest along, he's going to go ahead and take a card. And then we'll over to Monkey Man, who again will gain an honor point. And he'll get to choose a card. So he can either take that or the top one. So he'll take the top card from the deck and add it over there. And then again, this will continue until all the players are off. Now let's go ahead and say during the next round that the Scotsman moved in there. And since he doesn't have any of those symbols, then he would simply just be placed off and would not receive any points. But then he's not going to discard any of his cards as well. And then the Monkey Man will move off and he'll go here for say and do his 2 cards. And he does have one that matches him as well. So he'll get 5 points for that instead of the 3. And then these guys will be off. At this point, then we would go ahead and discard this villain and reset the field. So go ahead and break down all the board and then shuffle it back up and then lay it out again based on the same way we set it up at the beginning. Then you're going to do another random villain. And then this will go again. And then the final round, then you'll do one of the 3 Akoo cards. So you'll shuffle up the Akoo cards, place one down, and that will be your final end boss, which is Akoo. And then at the end of that, the player that has the most points will be the overall winner of the game. So one last thing I want to go into real quick is the end game and final scoring. So first off, the game is going to immediately end if the Samurai Jack token ever reaches the Akoo space. And you're also going to start receiving penalties as he moves into the 7, 8, and 9 space as detailed along here with the sanity meter. So it says all players are going to immediately discard a support card at random whenever he moves into those spaces, except for the last space, in which case the players are all going to lose. Now the other thing is at the end of the game with the final scoring, any player that has support cards can discard each support card for 1 honor point per card. And then from there, the players are going to total up all of their honor points, and the player that has the most will be the overall winner at the end of the game. Now, if the players are tied, then it'll be the player that has defeated the highest point on the akoo card. So if our players had done something like this, and Rothschild and the Scotsman were tied, the Scotsman would win as he defeated a higher level on the akoo card. Well, I hope you guys found that video helpful. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Swing by my Facebook and Twitter accounts. Let me know what you guys are playing or doing. If there's any games you want me to cover, I'd love to start a conversation with you. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos and leave me feedback on them. I do really appreciate it and I take into account everything you guys say to try to make the best possible videos. And if you enjoy these videos, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it really does make a big difference and helps me continue to grow and be able to bring these videos to you guys. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.